A boy disappears in Houston, then another, then another. One family reports their child missing, certain he would never run away. Police aren't sure what to think. There are no clues, no scenes, no warnings, just kids leaving home and never returning. Parents begin locking their doors in a city that once felt safe. Rumors spread through neighborhoods. Fear grows. Something is wrong, and no one knows who or what is behind it. This is the story of a man who seemed ordinary, quiet, and unthreatening. A man neighbors barely noticed. A man who would later be known as the Candy Man. His crimes haunted Texas in the early 1970s, leaving families with questions that would take years to fully answer. Tonight, we're going back to a time when a trusted face hid a terrifying secret. We'll explore how the crimes were uncovered, how the community struggled to understand the truth, and how investigators uncovered a series of disappearances that shocked the nation. This story involves minors and sensitive crimes, but we will keep the details respectful and safe for all audiences. In the early 1970s, Houston was booming. People moved in from across the country for jobs, new homes, and a fresh start. But with fast growth came stretched resources. Police were overwhelmed. Neighborhoods expanded faster than systems could keep up. Children walked the streets freely, often without supervision. This created an environment where kids could vanish without witnesses. It wasn't unusual for a teenager to tell his parents he'd be back after visiting friends, only to end up missing. At first, people assumed they ran away. That was common at the time. Investigators believed most missing boys would come home within a few days. But families began noticing a strange pattern. Many of the missing boys lived in the same part of the city. Many were around the same age. They came from homes where running away didn't make sense. Their parents insisted something else was going on, something dark, something intentional. Still, there were no answers, and the disappearances continued. The man behind the crimes lived in a simple home. He operated a small business. He talked casually with neighbors. He even handed out treats to local kids, earning a reputation that would later give him his disturbing nickname. Nothing about him raised suspicion. But he had been hiding troubling behavior for years. He built friendships with teenagers who lived nearby. Many were from unstable homes. Others were simply looking for a place to hang out. He offered them money for small tasks. He let them drive his car. He let them roam freely in his home. Two young men in particular became important in his life. They were older teens who drifted in and out of school and work. He trusted them. They trusted him. Over time, their relationship became a dangerous partnership. The man convinced them to help him with his crimes, using influence and pressure to control them. This secret world operated quietly behind closed doors. The disappearances went on for years. Families kept searching. Police investigations moved slowly, and the man remained invisible to everyone, except the teens he manipulated to help him. Everything changed in the summer of 1973. The man had brought one of his teenage helpers into the home again. This boy had become deeply entangled in the situation, but he also lived with fear and confusion about the things he was involved in. On this particular night, the boy arrived with a friend, someone outside the circle. This friend was not supposed to be there. The man became furious. Arguments followed. Tension filled the house. The situation spun out of control, and the boy who had been helping him for months panicked. In a moment he didn't plan and couldn't take back, he defended himself and ended the man's life. Shocked and terrified, the teenager fled the house and contacted his mother. She immediately reached out to Houston Police Department. Officers rushed to the scene. What they found ended years of searching and opened one of the most disturbing cases in Texas history. Inside the home, investigators discovered evidence connecting the man to many of the missing boys. Records, personal items, and disturbing writings helped police piece together what had been happening. It became clear that the disappearances were not random. They were connected. The Candyman, who had blended into everyday life, had been responsible all along. News of the discovery spread through the city. Parents who had spent years searching for their sons now faced the devastating truth. The city was stunned. Want more stories like this? Please be sure to like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share your opinion in the comments. As the investigation continued, Houston prepared for more revelations, ones no one was ready for. After the man's death, police questioned the two teenagers who had been closest to him. What they revealed shocked investigators. The man hadn't worked alone. He had used these two young men to help lure boys to his home. He controlled them through money, pressure, and fear. The boys admitted they had helped contact victims, but they insisted the man planned and directed everything. Police worked to understand how deep this network went. They traced connections, searched properties, and interviewed families who had reported their sons missing years earlier. The man's home became the center of the investigation. Authorities found items belonging to several victims, along with records that hinted at how organized the crimes were. In the early 1970s, there was no national system for tracking missing children. There was no technology to quickly match leads. The disappearances had been treated separately, scattered across time. Now, investigators realized they were all tied to the same man. Community members were horrified by how long the crimes went unnoticed. Parents had begged for help. Some had been told their sons likely ran away. Now they learned the truth. Their children had never left Houston at all. The discovery forced Texas to rethink how missing child cases were handled. The case led to intense public pressure. Citizens demanded reforms. Families demanded answers. Investigators worked day and night to identify every victim. Some families finally received closure, but others were left with heartbreaking uncertainty. The teenage helpers were charged and faced the consequences for their roles. Courts recognized that they had been influenced and manipulated by an older man, but they still held responsibility for what they had done. The case became a turning point in Texas law enforcement. The collaboration between the Houston Police Department, local prosecutors, and state investigators showed how critical coordination was for tracking missing children. Houston began building better systems to share information. The story also changed how the public viewed safety. Parents became more cautious. Neighborhoods became more alert. The idea that a friendly face could hide shocking behavior left a lasting mark on the community. The Candyman's crimes would later be compared to other well-known cases across the country, not because of the details, those remain deeply sensitive, but because of the scale, the planning, and the betrayal of trust. For Texas, it became one of the darkest chapters in its history. The Candyman case is a reminder that evil does not always look like what we expect. It can hide in plain sight, behind a calm voice or a friendly smile. It can blend into neighborhoods and routines until someone brave comes forward and breaks the silence. Even though this story is painful, it brought changes that continue helping families today. Better systems, faster responses, more attention to missing children. These improvements came at a terrible cost, but they have saved lives in the years since. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. What part of this case stood out to you the most, and what do you think would have helped investigators notice the pattern sooner?